Hey guys, it's Brett. Thanks for stopping by my channel. So today I wanted to go over what I hope to read in August. Some of the things I've already read in August, which I'll touch over first, but otherwise what I hope to get to. I know that some of these books are going to be Booker Longlist books. I was going to do a whole video on the Booker Longlist, and then I was like, primarily, primarily because when I looked at the long list, which was full of a lot of surprises, I wasn't sure if I was really going to read, if I'm going to read the whole long list this year or just wait for the short list. That's not to say I haven't already started. And in fact, one of the books I've already read is from the long list. But generally speaking, when I started to read the descriptions of the books, I can't say I was like, wow, I have to read that. I have to read this. So I'm being a little discriminating. I'm being a little discriminating in terms of what I want to read before the short list is announced, because I'm certainly not going to get to all of them. So yeah, let's start with that. All right, so the first two books, I should say the first book that I've read this month that is also from the Booker long list is In Ascension by Martin McGuinness. This was something that I had gotten before the long list was even announced. It's not out here in the US, but I thought it sounded so intriguing. It's, I guess I would classify it as literary sci-fi in a way, about a scientist she's part of an underwater sea exploration, the results of which lead her to become part of a space exploration later in the story. It's also, while she's grappling with kind of having grown up in an abusive home, her father has now passed away. She has a sister and a mother who's now living alone, who's just aging. And so that's kind of her backstory. I thought it was really, really, really interesting. I put it down and I can't say, oh my God, I love this and everyone should get it. But I think it's incredibly well written, beautiful writing. I found some of it so captivating, especially all the scientific angles of this, which felt incredibly real, incredibly fleshed out. I believed everything that he was talking about. So it's certainly one of the most unique things I've read this year. I can't say, oh, I expect this to be on the short list, having read nothing else, but a really, really, really interesting book. The other book that I have already read, which is not on the Booker Prize, is Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent. This is a thriller, but a very untraditional one. Our main character, Sally Diamond, it's not clear in the beginning what's wrong with her in terms of if she's on the spectrum, if there's something, but there's something definitely going on. And at the opening of the book, her father has just died, who she lives with, and she is taking his body out to the back to burn him, which is what he, according to her, instructed her to do after he passed away. So this launches the book off. Honestly, the less you know, the better. I thought this was really compelling. What kind of gets revealed is, I'm not going to lie, it's disturbing, but it's not bloody or it's nothing like that. But it's horrific. I'm not going to lie. That said, couldn't put it down. I did this as well on audio. The narrators were really terrific. It's set in Ireland, so that added to the enjoyment of the auditory experience. But totally, really solid book. I would recommend this. All right, so now what I am currently reading in this August, this is the other book that I have from the Booker list, and the other book that I had guessed would be on the long list, the first being an Ascension, and this was the other one, which is Paul Murray's The Bee Sting. And thank you to FSG for this copy. This is a kind of a family, massive tome retelling. I love these kind of stories, a la kind of Jonathan Franzen, about a family in Ireland I did not read Skippy Dies, and I posted that the other day on Instagram, and so many people were like, Skippy Dies. So I feel like after I finish this, I'm going to have to go explore that, primarily because I started this yesterday. It's really good. I get why Paul Murray is so lauded. But I'm really excited to see where this goes. You could see I've tabbed this up because my intention was to read 30 pages a day, so I wasn't completely overwhelmed by picking up this over 700-page book and being like, oh my God. So this way I will finish it by the end of the month and not feel like it's, taking me out of everything else. So, but very good. I'm also, okay, so I'm doing Tom Lake on audio, primarily because Meryl Streep is reading it, and I'm 3/4 of the way through. I have about 90 minutes left. It's fantastic. I don't know. It's hitting me on all the right planes. First of all, Meryl Streep is like a world unto herself. Like, she should already be dusting off her shelf next to her Academy Awards for her Grammy, because she's just next level. And there's so much richness in it, because here she is, this actress, reading this part of this actress, this woman who was an actress. Tom Lake is a theater in Michigan that the heroine of the story goes to work at one summer as an actress. It's a memory piece. In present day, she is married, has 3 grown daughters who have come back because of the COVID lockdown, and it's harvest season, and she and her husband own this Michigan cherry farm. And so it's kind of the back and forth of what happens, and it's all kind of rooted in Ann Patchett's, or inspiration for the book was Thornton Wilder's Our Town. So that's threaded through the whole book. It's absolutely beautiful. And I highly recommend, and I would highly recommend the audio for the treat that is Meryl Streep. The other thing that I am reading presently is Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. Really enjoying this. Angie Kim is coming next week to record on the Gaze Reading podcast. Really excited about that. I really enjoyed Miracle Creek. I feel like I'm going to like this one even better. This is about a family that is half Korean, half white, with 3 kids. The 2 older kids are twin, fraternal boy and girl. And then there is a younger brother who is on the autism spectrum, but he also has AS, which stands for Angelman syndrome, which means he can't talk, has motor difficulties, and has an unusually happy demeanor with frequent smiles and laughter. Well, at the beginning of the book, the younger brother, his name is Eugene, runs up to the house. He had gone out to go hiking with his father and comes back alone. There's some blood on his shirt. The father has gone missing. And so the story is about what happened and trying to find the father and trying to get information from this boy who can't communicate in the kind of proper way. So it's completely propulsive, really good. I think you're going to see this a lot of places, and it's probably going to be a bestseller, but really good. Okay, so that's what I kind of brought you up to date with, all that stuff. So these are the books now that I hope to get to by the rest of the month. Another long lister for the Booker Prize, The House of Doors. I've never read anything before by Tan Thuong Anh. This, I will just read you the opening. I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see what I'm reading. The year is 1921. Leslie Hamlin and her husband Robert, a lawyer and war veteran, are living at Cassowary House in the Straits settlement of Penang. When Willie Somerset Maugham, a famed writer and old friend of Robert's, arrives for an extended visit with his secretary Gerald, the pair threatens a rift that can alter more lives than one. Maugham, one of the great novelists of his day, is beleaguered. Having long hidden his homosexuality, his unhappy and expensive marriage of convenience becomes unbearable after he loses his savings and the freedom to travel with Gerald. His career deflating, his health failing, Maugham arrives at Cassowary House in desperate need of a subject for his next book. Leslie, too, is enduring a marriage more duplicitous than it first appears. Maugham suspects an affair, and learning of Leslie's past connection to the Chinese revolutionary Dr. Sun Yat-sen, decides to probe deeper. But as their friendship grows and Leslie confides in him about life in the Straits, Mom discovers a far more surprising tale than he imagined, one that involves not only war and scandal, but the trial of an Englishwoman charged with murder. It is, to Mom, a story worthy of fiction. So I think this sounds great and gorgeous cover. So that's the first. Sorry, a little frog in my throat. Next is Ruth Medevsky's All Night Pharmacy. Again, just think this is the coolest cover. Rachel Kushner meets David Lynch in this fever dream of an LA novel about a young woman who commits a drunken act of violence just before her sister vanishes without a trace. I think that's all you need to know. It sounds really intriguing. I Will Greet the Sun Again by Kashayar Kabustani. I saw him interviewed on Jalen, the Bar in the Bookcase, his Reading the Room podcast. And I found him fascinating and really interesting. And the book sounded really interesting to me. Growing up in the San Fernando Valley with his two brothers, all Kay wants is to be a boy from LA, all American. But Kay, the youngest, named after a Persian king, knows there's something different about himself, like the way he feels about his closest friend Johnny, a longing he can't share with anyone. At home, Kay must navigate another confusing identity, that of the dutiful son of Iranian immigrants struggling to make a life for themselves in the United States. He tries to make his mother proud, live up to her ideal of a son. On Friday nights, Kay attends prayer at the local mosque with Baba, his father, whose violent affections distort Kay's understanding of what it means to be a man and how to love. Anyway, great cover. Hogarth Books is putting this out, as well as the Angie Kim. And I just want to give a shout out to Hogarth Books for the copy of the Angie Kim book. But I think they're such an interesting publishing house and is putting out just absolutely really interesting stuff. But okay, that was a little side note. Bellies by Nicola Dinan, and big thank you to Hanover Square Press for this copy. This came out, I think, 2 weeks ago, and then I have a friend who's in London who's read it, and he loved it. Just says, this begins as your typical boy meets boy. While out with friends at their local university drag night, Tom buys Ming a drink. Confident and witty, a magnetic young playwright, Ming is the perfect antidote to Tom's awkward energy, and their connection is instant. Tom finds himself deeply and desperately drawn into Ming's orbit, and on the cusp of graduation, he's already mapped out their future together. But shortly after they move to London to start their next chapter, Ming announces her intention to transition. So I kind of hate this cover only because I think it looks like a poppy rom-com, and I absolutely don't think that is what it is. I love the UK cover of this one, but I'll let you know. All right, next, The Vegan by Andrew Lipstein. I've never read anything by him. I have to be honest, this is, again, pure case of, well, two things. One, it was the cover drew me in, and then coupled with the fact that it's FSG, that I knew it was going to be good. I'm probably a little crazy. Herschel Cain is a soon-to-be master of the universe. His hedge fund, built on the miracle of machine learning, is inches away from systematically extracting obscene profits from the market. His Soho offices, shoes optional, therapy required, have been fine-tuned to reel in curious investors. But on the night of May 12th, at his elegant Cobble Hill townhouse, he has something else on his mind. The dinner party he and his wife have devised to woo their new A-list neighbors. When the evening fizzles, Herschel indulges in a devilish prank that goes horrifically awry, plunging him into a tailspin of guilt and regret. As Herschel's tightly constructed world starts to unravel, he clings to the moral clarity he finds in the last place he'd expect, a sudden connection with a neighborhood dog. So it sounds crazy, wild. I'm in. Leading Lady, a memoir of the most unusual boy by Charles Bush. Charles Bush, I know from Vampire Lesbians of Sodom, one of the first or preeminent drag performers. Charles Bush is going to be coming on the Gage Reading podcast as well, and so I have no beyond that. I really don't know much about him, so I'm excited to dive in and kind of check out his life. And thank you to Smart Pop for this copy. Blackouts by Justin Torres. First of all, I love this. Just the galley alone is so beautiful. Um, I loved his first book, We the Animals, so much. So it's literally been, I don't even know, 10 years since we've had something from Justin Torres. So to say this is anticipated by a lot of people is an understatement. Um, he, it is about two men, one nearing death, who, in telling its story and their own, resist the erasures of memory and time. A genre defined, haunting, intimate, triumphant creation that blends fact and fiction, draws on records, testimony, and images from a range of disciplines. Justin Torres' Blackouts mines the stories that have been kept from us and brings them into the light. It is a reclamation, a celebration of defiance, and a transformative encounter. So, yeah, it looks interesting inside. It looks a little experimental. It looks a little bit, reminds me a little bit of just the pictures of Biography of X. So I'm really excited about this one. I've said this before. It's hardly like, I don't know why I say that so much, because it's hardly like I've been like, I'm not excited about this, but I'm going to read it anyway. Lastly, okay, I'll say I'm really, really, really excited for this, which is Wellness by Nathan Hill. This is what I'm going to be starting next. I was a huge fan of the Knicks, and again, it's been a long time since Nathan Hill has come out with something, and he's not playing around at 600 pages. He also is going to be coming on the podcast, so I can't wait, and I just hope I don't make a jackass of myself. But really excited. Every couple has a story that they tell themselves about themselves, a story that hums beneath them as a kind of engine, motoring them through trouble and into the future. For Jack and Elizabeth, that story was about falling in love at first sight, about two dreamers discovering their other half, two orphans finding a home, two people who understood each other easily and immediately. But stories only have power insofar as they're believed. So anyway, totally excited. We'll see. All right, guys, that's it. So that is my potentials for August. I'm sure there will be other things that slip in at some point. They always do. So we'll see where I end up. But let me know what you're reading and what you're loving. Let me know what you're trying to read this month. I know then we're getting into all the big fall blockbuster books. Some of those, I think the Angie Kim, I think Wellness. Hopefully some of those are already going to be on the fall blockbuster lists. All right, at any rate, I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I will see you guys soon.